everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're going to look at a barrel accessory for your Tippmann M4 Carbine. So this is the airsoft gun that Tippmann puts out, their M4 variant of it. We've got two outer barrel lengths that are available for the Carbine. We have a 16-inch and a 10.3 inch. This would be like a standard like rifle size 16-inch overall, and then a CQB version 10.3. The 10.3 obviously is shorter than the original one that comes in there, and the 16-inch about an inch longer than the original one that comes in there. Now, you have an outer barrel, which is this part right here, but you also have an inner barrel that the BB actually goes through, and that sits inside the outer barrel. Now, changing the length of the outer barrel is going to dictate us to change the length of the inner barrel as well. And that inner barrel does not come with these pieces when you buy them, so you will need to purchase a separate inner barrel to match the outer barrel that you are buying. With the 16-inch, they recommend a 407 millimeter inner barrel. This is a Mad Bull Black Python inner barrel. You can pick them up. We have them listed on the website. And then for the 10.3 inch, I believe it's a 275 millimeter inner barrel to match this one as well. The switch is pretty basic, pretty simple. So we'll go ahead and do it. Just kind of run through it quickly, not get too in depth with it, and show you how to do it. So the first thing we always want to do is make sure that the gun is degassed and uncycled, or not cocked. So let's just cock the gun back to show you what we would do. So right now the gun is in the cocked position. What we would do is rotate it to semi, obviously make sure there's no tank on the gun or anything like that. Pull the trigger, it decocks, put back to safety, and we're ready to go. Magazine, release that, get it out of the way. And our two pins, our takedown pins, front and back, we are going to remove those. Well, we can't remove them. We're going to push them out to where they stop. They do not come all the way out. Once they are pushed out, we can separate the two pieces. So let's get this out of the way and put this here. Now what we're going to do is remove the handguard. And on original brand new guns, the handguards can be a little sticky. So start with the left and then go over to the right. And the right side always gives me trouble. There we go. And when we put it back together, we'll go the opposite. We'll do right side first, then left side. All right, once we're in this position, we're ready to kind of get the outer barrel off. Now, if we were going to do a complete changeover on this one, we would need to remove the front sight, or the triangle sight simulant here. We would undo these two screws, slide it off the front, and then it will mount back to where these grooves are right here. So the two screws we pull out will go through these grooves, and that will hold it in place and keep it from rotating. So as you can see on this, the 10.3, the barrel is much shorter right there. And then on the 16-inch, if we line up the grooves, the barrel is going to come out to here, so about an inch longer right there. And that's why you'll need the longer inner or shorter inner barrel as well to match up. So we're not going to pull all this stuff off. That's pretty straightforward how to do that. But we're going to remove this. So the gun comes with a barrel tool. Looks like this. It's not an extra part that they forgot in your box. It is appropriate. So we're going to take the barrel tool, we're going to lock it onto the delta ring, and we are going to unscrew. Now I've loosened mine up a little bit already, so yours most likely will not come off that easy. I struggled with this one for a second. It's an awkward thing to try to hold on to. It's an awkward tool to use just because it doesn't want to grab on really well because it's so thin. So keep unscrewing until it is able to move. Now when this moves up and comes off, there's two halves of a washer that will fall out if you have it on its side or something like that. So just be ready to catch them and don't lose them. Don't let them drop on the floor and get lost, because you do need to have them in there. They are right here. So I take that piece out there, and by doing it standing up like this, those pieces won't fall out. But if I had it on its side, it would fall right out of there. So I can slide the delta ring forward, and at this point right here, I can pull the whole assembly out. They do recommend in the manual that the hop-up adjustment, that you back it out 3 turns to make it easier to pull apart. This one I've already pulled apart, so I know that it can just pop right out. So that takes out the outer and inner barrel from the upper receiver. All right. Now from this point, we can actually pop the inner barrel out. I use the cap of a pen You could probably grab onto it and do it as well, but I'm just pushing that in there until I can get this piece out. I'm gonna grab it and slide it out. And this is our inner barrel that goes inside of our outer barrel. And that's what you would be replacing with these things right here. So you've got two pieces on here as well. These just hold the bucking in place. So we would pull the bucking off, put it onto the new inner barrel, and then reattach our little clamp device here. And it is important that you do the right sides. So we want that one to go there, and this one to go on that side. There's a little index line on the inner barrel itself, and that will be on all other inner barrels so that these pieces line up properly. You can't accidentally put the wrong one. Well, I guess you could accidentally do it, but they make it so that it's hard to put the wrong one in the wrong spot. Otherwise, it just doesn't go together. So we're together. We have changed out everything on our inner barrel and outer barrel that we want to. We've got our new outer barrel with our new parts, and we're gonna put the inner barrel back in. Now the inner barrel backing right here has two notches, a really, really thin notch and a really wide notch. The wide notch is used by this piece right here. You can see the notch that's on there. So we're gonna slide this in and make sure that the wide notch goes right in there, just like that. Now the little notch or the thin notch, there's a little nub inside here that will line that one up, so that one stays vertical as well. So we'll kind of look in there to make sure that we're lining everything up properly, and then we'll slide it together. See, right now it's not lined up, but if I turn and I just line that notch up just by giving it a slight rotation, it drops into place. Now I'm going to stand it up again like this, because I don't want to lose my barrel nuts if I turn it over again. So I'm going to put them in place on each side. And it just goes around on each side. There's no slot that they fall into or anything. You just put one on each side and then slide the delta ring over the top of them, and that will secure them in place. Then we can go ahead and tighten this down. Now you can use the tool if you want. It would take forever to try to do this part. So I'm going to do it by hand until I get to the point where I'm at the bottom and need to use the tool. All right, so if it's getting to be firm right there, I'm going to use the tool. One thing that you need to do, and is very important, and it's in the manual if you read the manual, is if you look at this ring that's around here, it looks like a star or a sun. It's got a bunch of points and a bunch of valleys. So the valley being like this section right there, and the point being this section. You probably can't see that, but I'm going to point at it anyway. You want to make sure that the valley section, so the lower trough of one of those sections, is at the 12 o'clock position. If it's not, the handguards won't go back together properly. So we are going to turn this, feel for the tightness, and then make sure that we have a trough at the 12 o'clock, and we do right there. All right. So now you could try to put these back on right now. I find it a little bit easier to reassemble the upper and lower together and then put my handguard back on, just because it gives me more to work with. So I'm going to put the front section in, snap it in, move my hammer back. Sometimes the hammer will stick out, and if you go to push this down, the hammer gets caught on the back. So push it forward, drop it in, lock it down, and then put our trigger guard or hand guards back in place. Once we get that back in place right there, let me just do this first one. Oh. See, and this one always gives me a trouble. So that one's inside. We would do the other one, and we'd be all set up to go. So your outer barrels are available in two lengths, 16 and 10.3. Make sure you buy inner barrels for them because the original one won't work. Pick them up at ansgear.com.